Hi, it's me again. Okay, this little video is about preparing for an exam. There are other videos that talk about what to do just before an exam and during the exam and so on. But this one is more a kind of making sure that you're ready well in advance, months and months before you actually sit the exam. Now, there's an old adage which says the best way to do an exam is to study an exam. Okay? Now, you might have a course in front of you which has got all sorts of sections and questions and practice bits and so on that you're working through, and that's there to teach you how to do the actual material, how to understand what the whole course is about. However, on the actual day of the exam, you're not doing a course, you're doing a specific exam which is asking a certain series of questions. The good thing about this is that people that write exams are very conservative in what they do. They go back and they look at previous exams and they write their exams to virtually mirror what is in previous exams. Now, they do that for two reasons. The first one is they don't want to end up writing an exam which nobody can do, and they end up with egg in their face because they've written a completely impossible exam and all their colleagues just laugh at them and point the finger at them and say, "You're an idiot, you can't write an exam." The second reason is really pretty much attached to the first, and that is it's well known that you can't write an exam that people can't prepare for. If people can't prepare for an exam, they're not going to pass it. And if you write an exam which is unfamiliar to people, they won't pass it. Large numbers of people will fail it. So that's your strength in approaching an exam, is this knowledge that the exam you're going to sit is going to be very, very similar to exams that have been written in the past. So there is where we go with preparing for an exam. You prepare for the exam by studying the exam itself. You get the past papers and you work through them. Now, at first you might work through them on the basis of doing the odd question here and there. You know, you're studying this bit of the course and you do that question in this paper, and then you move on to the next past paper and you do the similar question in that, and so on, right? Eventually you'll get to the stage where you're actually comfortable with most of the course material and you'll be practicing all the exam in one go, doing one question after another, or as you see in another video, you'll be doing questions in the exam but maybe in a different order from what they're written down. Okay? Now, by doing that, by practicing the exam over and over and over again, you'll get to the point where when you go in and actually sit the exam and you open up the paper, it will be familiar to you. Everything you see in it will be stuff that you've seen before, and it'll be set out virtually in the same way. Now, in one of the exams that I tutor people in, there's a certain type of question which is referred to as an optimization question. And it always comes in two parts. There's a part A and a part B. And part A is normally for about 3 marks and part B is for 5 marks. Now, part B is actually very, very straightforward. It's a very, very simple process, and everybody that studies the course can do this with their eyes shut. Okay? Part A is difficult. It involves problem solving at a very high level. Now, what I tell all my students is ignore part A and do part B. That way they get their 5 marks in the bag. They can come back later on in the exam and do part A. But the important thing is that they would not be able to do that. They would not be able to recognise that if they hadn't actually studied the exam over and over again. So that when they open the paper, they can look through it and say, "Oh, there's that optimisation question." Right? Now, one of the greatest compliments I ever got from a student came a few years back when I phoned them up, and this boy and his sister used to come to me for maths tuition, and I asked him how he got on the exam, and he said, "Yeah, it was great, I did well, no problem at all." And I said, "How did your sister get on?" And his reply, which I've always remembered ever since then, was that his sister had said it was just like being at Archie's. Because one of the things that we did on a regular basis in my little sessions with them was exam practice, just as I've been describing, going through the exam question after question. So when that girl sat down in the exam, and did that paper, it was just like sitting in her house or in my place doing the paper. She was relaxed, she was comfortable with it, she knew what was coming, and she knew exactly what she was going to do. That's your best exam preparation. Not hours and hours of study of this bit of the course or that bit of the course. Those have their place, but the key element is focusing on the actual exam itself. By doing that, you can get through it very easily. I mentioned in another video that you should be seeing at some point. It's about confidence. It's a very, very important video. But I mentioned in that about a woman that I tutored who only had 6 weeks to get through her exam. We didn't get her through the exam. She got her second highest grade. We didn't get her through the exam simply by studying the course materials. We got through it solely by studying the exam. That's all I did with her, was the exam. Past paper after past paper, and training her how to get through those questions. 6 weeks from not being able to do any maths to getting the second highest grade. Now take that on board, focus on the exam. When you get within 3 or 4 months of actually doing the exam, make sure you're doing plenty of past paper practice. Thank you for listening.